What is up, guys? It's Kyle with Never Hedge, and I'm coming at you with UFC Vegas 33 DraftKings and betting guide. It's going to be solo this week. Scott's out of town. He's not going to be able to make it, but we have a pretty good card. It's getting a little decimated. We're losing fights here and there. Lazez is the most recent one off the card, along with Sam Alvey. Those will be missed. I always love watching Smiling Sam, but we still have a good card, and I've actually found some good betting spots here. I didn't think I had them early on, but after doing some tape study, I really think we have some good spots here. So we'll start off the card with Ryan Benoit versus Zaruk Adashev. Benoit is minus 143, Adashev plus 115. So Benoit lost his last two to Tim Elliott and Alatang. Tim Elliott is a beast. I'm high on him. I love his style. And Benoit always fights close. He lost to Brandon Moreno via split, but it was back in 2016. 3 of Benoit's last 5 fights went to split. His best win was a Sergio Pettis knockout in 2015. Zaruk Adashev, on the other hand, he's only 3-3. He was a kickboxer. He lost his last 2 to Sue Maderji and Tyson Nam. Not bad opponents. Those are pretty decent fighters on the level of Benoit, but they beat him. He was KO'd by Nam in 30 seconds. He went to decision with Sue. Like I said, he was a kickboxer, and he went 16-3 in kickboxing. I just think Benoit is going to be too much here. And watching the tape on Zaruk Adashev, he gets hit. And the problem with that is Ryan Benoit hits pretty hard. I could see Benoit finishing this fight. I'm really interested to see what that prop's going to be. It is not out yet. But minus 143 on Ryan Benoit, I will be hammering. Next fight up is Philip Rowe is plus 155 versus Orion Kosk at minus 195. The Kosk brothers came on the scene, both undefeated, both putting guys away. Orion has never been to decision. He came on Dana White Contender Series at a Team Alpha Male, and he looked great. Problem is, that's Dana White Contender Series. He's taking a step up here and fighting a guy in Rowe who has seen some good fights in the UFC. He lost to Gabe Green, but that was a close fight. He TKO'd Leon Shabazian, Edmund's brother. He's huge for the division. He's 6'2". He's got a 10-inch reach advantage in this fight, and he will look to grappling against Orion. Orion's only 5'9". There's going to be a huge size difference here. And I think after seeing Orion's brother lose, it just goes to show maybe these guys are not at the level we thought they were. Maybe they're going to knock out every regional scene guy that they see, but the step up to the UFC was a little bit too much for Orion's brother, and I think Philip Rowe is going to be a little too much here with the size and wrestling advantage in his favor. 155 is a great number. That is slowly closing, so take him as soon as you can, but I will be riding with Philip Rowe here. Next fight, we got Ronnie Lawrence, minus 150 versus Trevin Jones at plus 120. This is one where I do not get the line. I get it. Ronnie Lawrence has looked really good. He won his last 4 fights. After his only loss in 2016, he took 3 years off and has come back new and improved. He uses his wrestling. His striking has looked good. He likes spinning techniques, but he really, really utilizes that grappling, and he's been able to put guys away with it. He TKO'd Vince Cachero, who is not a great fighter, but he's a tough guy to put away. Dana White called him special, and that is why I think the line is what it is. Hearing Dana White call somebody special, I think it got in the bookmaker's head because he's fighting a guy in Trevin Jones who won his last 3, and that's excluding the no contest against Timur Valiev which was really a TKO win for Trevin Jones, but it was overturned because of marijuana. He TKO'd hot prospect Mario Batista in his last fight, and that really impressed me. I don't think Lawrence is going to have the success taking down a guy like Trevin Jones. Trevin Jones is a shorter guy. He's hard to take down. He's a black belt, I'm pretty sure. And I think he's going to knock Lawrence out. Lawrence is hittable. He throws a lot of those spinning techniques and leaves himself open. Trevin Jones, the knockout over Timur Valiev, that's a huge win. Knockout over Mario Batista, that's a huge win. Ronnie Lawrence has not fought anyone like them. The experience level is all Trevin Jones. Yes, can Trevin Jones possibly get out-wrestled? It's a possibility. But watching Trevin Jones, especially take the beating he did against Timur early on and then be able to come back and win that fight, that showed a lot. I love Trevin Jones at plus 120. I'll keep hammering him as long as he's plus money. The line's wrong. And when the line's wrong, you have to take advantage. Next fight, Jinyu Frey, plus 115 versus Ashley Yoder, minus 143. Yoder looked like shit against Angela Hill. She's lost 3 of her last 4, with her win being Miranda Granger, who's not great. She's very strong for the division. She's a big girl. But one thing I noticed is she's taking a lot of beach and pool picks. She's enjoying this summer. And I just don't know if I like that. I know it's off time. Of course, everyone has time. They need to unwind. But I don't know how serious she's taking this. She's almost a 500 fighter now. And she's fighting a girl in Jinyu Frey, who's basically, she knows she's fighting for her job. She did win her last fight against Gloria DePaula, who's on this card. She had a tough entry into the UFC with Kay Hansen and Luma Luke Boomy. Jinyu Frey is looking like she is in great shape, so I don't think the Ashley Yoder size will be that big a difference. And I think Jinyu Frey will do the same thing she did against DePaula and use her wrestling to win this fight. It will be close. It will be greasy. But at plus 115, there's a value there. And I will be betting on Frey for this card. This next fight, I was been back and forth a little bit. It's Danny Chavez, minus 106 versus Kai Kamaka, minus 118. And Chavez lost his last fight to Jared Gordon. No shame there. Jared Gordon's a tough, gritty guy. Chavez has good hands, a good jab. And he's facing Kai Kamaka, who also lost. And he lost his last 2, including a loss to TJ Brown, who Danny Chavez beat. So if you're doing MMA math here, Chavez will win this fight. However, MMA math doesn't work. I think the wrestling is what the difference maker will be in this fight, and Kamaka digs down deep for these takedowns. He's a powerful wrestler. You don't think that for an Hawaiian fighter, but he uses wrestling to win his fights. He is a powerful guy. Haven't really seen the knockouts in the UFC, but I think he'll be able to control Danny Chavez with wrestling and win a very close fight. Is it worth betting? I'm not sure. I might throw something on it, but it will be a close, grueling fight. Next fight up is Chris Grootswalker at plus 195 versus Rafa Garcia at minus 250. Grootswalker's at the end of the line. His only win is a goodbye fight, and he's lost 3 of his last 4. He even has a TKO loss to Artem Lobov. With your only win being Joe Lozon, and that was the shell of Joe Lozon, it's not looking good for you. Rafa did lose his last fight, but it was against Nasrat Haqparast, and he showed that he could stand up. He could hang on the feet with Nasrat. And if he could hang on the feet with Nasrat, he could hang on the feet with Chris Grootswalker. He will definitely have the wrestling advantage here, and he should use it to run over Chris Grootswalker. I think he beats him even on a bad day. He's going to get the finish here, so I'm looking for a finish prop once those are out. Next fight is a couple of UFC newcomers in Colin Aglin at plus 120 versus Melsek Bagdadarian at minus 150. Aglin is on a 7-fight winning streak. He has decent power, decent wrestling, and is more than anything, he's shown he's a tough kid. Flip side, Bagdadarian has massive power. He's one of those guys that comes out there fast and looks to put you out, looks to put you away. And I think, like we said, Anglin's tough. To prove you're tough, you got to get hit, and he gets hit. I think if he's taking these shots against Bagdadarian, he's going to get finished. I see this being a round 1 knockout for Melsek. And at minus 150, there's value there. Next fight is the return of Nico Montano, our first champion. Minus 182 versus Yanan Wu, plus 145. So Montano lost that last fight to Pena, but it showed she has the wrestling to hang. And she crushed Roxanne Modafferi. She hasn't fought in a long time, but she looks to be in good shape for this one. Yanan Wu has lost her last three of 4, sorry. And she's been in some close fights. One thing that scares me on Yanan Wu is she lost to Gina Mazzani, who is just not good. Nico Montano should run away with this, even with the long layoff. It shouldn't be close. Next fight, Nicholas Stoles, minus 190 versus Jared Gooden. This is a last-minute replacement. Jared Gooden's plus 150 for Munir Lazez, who had to pull out of the fight. So Stoles got a tough UFC debut against Ramazan Ameev, and he showed he could fight. He is a well-rounded guy, tough kid, and Jared Gooden is stepping up last minute. He lost his last 2 to Abubakar Nurmagomedov, no shame there, and Alan Jobin, who I've never been high on, but he is a veteran. I think this is Stoll's fight to lose. And at minus 190, there's some value there. Gooden coming off the couch, lost his last 2, wants to show he could still be in the UFC, but I don't know why he would accept this. Maybe he's hoping just for accepting it, they'll give him one more. But Stoles here is going to win this fight. He's going to use cardio and just being the more well-rounded fighter to win this. Gooden's power, he looks big and powerful. The power hasn't translated. I think Stoles takes this. Next fight is a runaway. Brian Barbarina, minus 275 versus Jason Witt, plus 210. And Jason Witt sucks. He's a wrestler only. He's very awkward on the stand-up. He got KO'd real quick by Senzo Berger. He also got finished by Takashi Sato. Barbarina has had a lot of injuries. He had that weird internal bleeding episode where he almost died. Barbarina has showed he's tough as fuck in all his fights. He won his last fight against Anthony Ivy, who's kind of a nobody. Before that, he lost to Randy Brown and Luque, both by TKO. So that's not good. But he's fought the who's who of the division. He went to decision with Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. A step down against a guy like Jason Witt, who can't stand up at all. Barbarina, by finish, it's going to be a quick one. This next fight, I went into thinking I was going to be all over Kang Kyung-Hu at minus 143 versus Ronnie Yaya plus 115. But after doing tape study, I can't back Kang. He won his last 3, but last 2 were by split, and he relies on the takedown. And that's what scares me in this fight. Yaya won his last fight by sub, and that's his only path to victory. And Ronnie Yaya is a strong guy. I don't know that Kang, especially early on, will be able to take him down. And Yaya might be able to take down Kang. And the striking is where this flipped me, because I thought Kang would be the better striker. Watching it back, Ronnie Yaya's striking sucks, but he throws bombs. And Kang, he uses that tall man defense sometimes. I think he'll get hit. I think we're going to see a club and sub here by Ronnie Yaya. That plus 115 line is looking pretty good. Next fight, Cheyenne Buys, minus 190 versus Gloria DePaula. So Buys lost her UFC debut. She's very aggressive, very athletic, and it's clear the UFC likes her. In this fight, Paula, they're giving her someone they think she could beat because Paula got controlled in the wrestling, and that's Bai's strong point. I think Bai's is going to show that maybe she does belong in the UFC and that she's a little bit green, but with some good matchmaking, she can maybe turn into a good prospect. I think Bai's wins this. I think it's a dominant performance, possibly finish by wrestling. And that brings us with the decimated card. That brings us to the main event. Uriah Hall plus 170 versus Sean Strickland minus 215. And Uriah Hall's getting a lot of love. He has won his last 4. He's won his last 4. He didn't throw a punch in his last win, though, in a leg break win over Chris Weidman. He beat Anderson Silva with that late 4th round KO. He beat Carlos Jr. And Bevin Lewis. Bevin Lewis sucks, but he beat him. Uriah Hall has that one, flashy knockout that if he hits you right, he'll put you out. But he's fighting a guy in Sean Strickland who won his last 4. He won it against Jocko, Brendan Allen, Jack Marshman, and Taleb. What I see here is this will be similar to the Mousasi fight versus Hall. Yes, did Hall beat Mousasi the first time? He did. But was it fluky? Oh, yeah. Mousasi proved in the second fight that was the biggest fluke. He went out there and dominated Uriah Hall. That is the potential that Sean Strickland has here. He has the potential to dominate somebody like Uriah Hall. Can he get caught? Yes, and that was shown in the Mousasi fight. But if he does not get caught, he dominates this fight and puts Uriah Hall away. At 215, there's a little bit of value, but I like it on the DraftKings side more. DraftKings, I did notice there was some discrepancies with line value. So right off the bat, obviously now you're getting Stoles. Stoles is 7,000. He's going to probably be the most popular fighter on the slate just because you get a favorite all the way down at 7,000. Most expensive fighters, Brian Barbarina, probably for good reason. He's going to fuck up Jason Witt. Then you got Rafa Garcia, second most expensive at 95 because he's going to fuck up Chris Grootswalker. And then this is where DraftKings does respect Sean Strickland and put him at 93. They think the same as us, that he's going to dominate Uriah Hall. Lazez was up there. That got taken down. Nico Montano, 91. I have to agree with it. Cheyenne Buys, 89. I love that. I love her at 89. Hopefully people stay away. And then this is where there's some overpriced guys. Kosk, 8,800. Ronnie Lawrence, 8,700. That means that at 7,500 and 7,400, you could get Philip Rowe and Trevin Jones. 2 fighters that we think are going to win at almost minimum price. Other guys down here that I like, Ronnie Yaya at 7,700. Great value there. Jinyu Frey. I don't think a lot of people take her. She'll have a lot of control time. She's going to use her wrestling to win this fight. Yoder also, she's tough, but she could be put away. Maybe not against someone like Frey, but it's possible. Danny Chavez, if you like him, he's 8,000. Kai Kamaka, who we like, 82. I think he'll be low owned. People are going to stay away. And then Benoit, I think he might go low owned too. People see a name like Adashev, that Russian-style name, and I think he'll be popular. But Benoit, I think people will stay away, and we'll get some value with Ryan Benoit. Hopefully he wins by knockout like we thought. And then Melsik Bagdasarian. Hopefully people are going to go for like Ronnie Lawrence, Kosk, the upper level, and kind of skip the middle. And we'll hammer Bagdasarian here at 86 and kind of steal one. And then the women are the wrestlers here. So hopefully, like I said, Rafa and Barbarina, yeah, they might win by knockout, but we might get a ton of points with Nico Montano and Cheyenne Buys with the wrestling. So there's some spots here on DraftKings to really take advantage of some of these contests. Like this week, like and subscribe, guys. We're always out here trying to put out good content. All right, guys. Thanks.